Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Simon, back with another episode of The Bad Batch. We have another double header for you today, which again takes us relatively close now to the end of the season as we make our way into April, which I can't believe. I can't believe we're in April already, and we've only got, after today, like 7 episodes of The Bad Batch left, and I think we've got a couple more double headers coming up, so it does mean only like I think 5 or 6 more weeks of The Bad Batch being released. But we don't have to wait too much longer. The month after, we've got The Acolyte, which again is a show that I think is going to intrigue many, if not cause a little bit of controversy. But then again, when doesn't Star Wars cause controversy for absolutely no good reason with its audience? Yeah, I mean, I think most people will say that last episode was a bit of a lull, even with the return of Asajj Ventress. I personally, I didn't feel like the episode was bad. I mean, again, you can't have every episode be an absolute banger. You can't have every episode be, 100 miles an hour. But I think, I can definitely understand the sentiments of people being disappointed. In that it didn't seem to do a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. It felt like Asajj Ventress' return didn't really mean as much as I think most of us assumed it would. And there's inklings that, maybe she isn't going to show up again and they're not going to explain how she's back. Which, okay, I get it. This season isn't supposed to be about her, but they kind of, pictured her as being a sort of a big part of this season, or at least, her reveal was put forward as being quite important in the trailer. And I think most people expected at the bare minimum that we got some explanation as to how she came back. And she just made a vague reference to having more lives, and that was it. I don't think her role was especially unique, is what I'm trying to say. It could have been any Force user. It didn't have to be Asajj Ventress, which it's why it felt a little, I don't know, almost like they were just doing it for the sake of doing it, for like bringing a character back. And maybe there's plans for her to have future stories. Maybe there's an animated show, or she's going to be part of Tales of the Jedi. It definitely felt like they were testing the waters for something more. Because otherwise, there's a lot of people it could have been that might have made more sense than Asajj Ventress. But, again, you can't have every episode be 100 miles an hour, and we still don't know exactly where her story's going to lead. But for the clones, they're not really any closer, I guess, to finding, Tantis. But they are starting to get a bit more clued in now as to what the Empire is after. And I did say that, I hope that we're not going down the whole Omega is Force sensitive route, because again, there's been no clear indication that is the way that we've been going. It seems to have come out of left field. And I feel like it is a little bit lazy just to depend on that as a character trait. The overly good person ends up with Force powers. Even if she doesn't end up as a Jedi or, wielding a lightsaber, it still feels like it's a bit, I don't know, it just unearned. Out of the blue. And I know that people are saying, well, anyone can be a Jedi. It doesn't matter as long as you train hard enough. And I just don't like that element of it. But, yeah, we've got an episode to watch, so we're going to jump in. So without further ado, here we go. Episode number 10 of The Bad Batch Season 3. Uh-oh.
Hey, who threw that? It was him. The kid can barely lift the vase.
Oh, no.
Let alone throw.
Wait, is he going to be a Force user?
We saw it.
Sorry. So sorry. You know what kind of trouble that could bring. Come on.
The Empire. So now suddenly we're shifting into Force-sensitive babies, which seems very odd. That guy's definitely going to turn him in. What is that? No, come on. Oh, is that's the clone, isn't it? That's the clone commando. So that's where he lives, because that's where we saw the clone commando. Or assassin, I should say.
Let's begin by bringing you up to speed on Project Necromancer.
Oh, yes, bring the audience up to speed as well, please. Are we about to find out who it's in the vault? Oh. Is that more female clones? Oh, it's the kids. It's for sensitive kids, before they kill them, I guess.
These particular 3 were selected because of their high M count. The young clone's blood is the only binder that's proven to be compatible with their DNA to recreate their M count levels.
So you can't directly transfuse midichlorians.
Testing should proceed as...
Which makes me wonder what happens if a Jedi needed a blood transfusion.
Recovered.
Would they lose their powers to an extent?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, little doomed one.
Glasses.
The voice lines for this kid sounds like they've been recorded through a 1980s microphone. There he is, Cad Bane. Oh, it's going through a voice recorder. Some kind of...
Toto.
Toto!
Coming right up, Mr. Bane.
That ain't Wyatt.
I am not a nanny droid.
Then knock it out.
You there. Stop that.
This episode has been a delight so far, you know, kidnapping. Just the...
I did it.
Let's move.
Yep, say goodbye to Mummy. You'll never see her again. Yeah, this kid's gonna cause some trouble, you can tell.
Hello, SP32.
He's gonna make a break for it. Now you've done it, kid. The alarms are going off.
SP32.
Stay away from me.
It's all right.
No.
Come on, force pusher.
Out of
Force.
here.
Force.
Safe. SP32.
No, he's not. Don't lie.
They said I could go home.
To be fair, she doesn't have a
I
clue.
just want to go home.
Secure him in his room.
Your actions were extreme, Commander. He's only a child.
The specimen attempted to escape. I was following protocol.
Yep. That's what the commandos do now. They shoot kids. You know that sequel to Republic Commando that we all want? It's going to be called Imperial Commando, and you just go around stunning kids.
I have questions regarding your work on Project Necromancer.
You have taken my place, then.
Yep. She is the new kindergarten teacher.
Been to the vault and seen the specimens.
Not all of them.
Children, like I was.
Emery,
There is nothing I can do. I don't have that kind of power.
don't you?
She's going to die breaking them out, isn't she? That's just the kind of character arc she's due for.
A new specimen will be arriving today. Commander Scorch is departing shortly.
Scorch! Speaking of Republic Commando,
I heard about the earlier incident.
Scorch is going to be the main character in the sequel.
However, this latest acquisition will not be a danger to you. That is correct. It is for a project that is of personal interest to the Emperor.
Oh,
Which is what?
I'm afraid that's classified.
nothing's classified
Assistance I may
for
provide,
Tarkin.
seeing this is of such importance.
He's the Emperor's favourite.
Is all I require.
Or for you, Doctor.
I love Tarkin's veiled threats. So it's the clone assassin project. Oh, it looks like they're getting upgrades.
Has been in contact with the target.
Oh shit.
For her now.
That's the Trandosian.
Aren't ready to
We know who that is.
I can handle it on my own.
Can you really?
and she's led them to
You've already
Fee.
failed once.
That's how they end up
No
on
more
Pabu.
mistakes. Do not return without Omega.
People are saying that's Cody. I think it's definitely either Tech or Cody at this point. It's one of the two. It's just a baby.
This specimen is younger than I expected.
Then he'll be less trouble.
I need to test him.
They really just made Scorch a dick, didn't they?
Where is SP-32?
Oh no.
A standard operating procedure for a subject to be isolated for 2 rotations as punishment.
He's in the hole.
Escape attempt.
They threw him in the hole. Yeah. God, the soundtrack just makes this so much more bleak,
Is everything all right
you know?
with SP-54?
So desolate and
Eva.
sad.
Who lied?
Still not gonna make up for you experiment on kids. Give them all the toys they want. Wow, what a bleak episode. Completely focused around the concept of kidnapping and experimenting on children. Again, this is one of those episodes that actually makes you realise how shitty the Empire is. You know, it's easy to forget sometimes because you don't always see the worst elements of what the Empire does. And they've got such a facade of, you know, kind of quiet coolness to them. Like, as a kid, I really liked the Empire because, you know, they were this big, kind of organised and cool-looking military outfit that you never... I mean, let's face it, outside of the destruction of Alderaan, which, on a scale of that size, and especially when you're a kid, you become a bit desensitised to the act itself. You know, you just think of the Empire as those fantasy bad guys, and you don't actually think about, you know, what they do or how bad they are. And I think as I've grown up, you know, outside of the odd episode... like in Andor really shows you that, you know, shitty side of the Empire and why they are truly, you know, an evil state. And this is another one of those episodes that kind of makes you realise, oh my god, they are, you know, doing horrible things to kids. They're kidnapping them from their parents. Again, that's Zuko on his cat tree for those that would like to see. Say hello, Zuko. Just in case you're wondering why there's a lot of noise. And it was just such a bleak episode, and the soundtrack really added to it, you know? The soundtrack this season has been fantastic. It's added so many elements in so many moments. But I think in this one, you know, it really enhanced that feeling of helplessness and the bleakness of the situation for the kids. And I always assumed this season was going to be dark, you know, but I thought that was going to be more about the clones themselves and the potential of their death. But I think, you know, this season is going to be dark for other reasons, you know, kids being kidnapped, potentially not making it out, you know. It would not surprise me if they couldn't rescue these kids, although it is kind of pointing towards Emery rescuing them, having a change of heart. But it's still, you know, for me, it's kind of like, okay, so she's being shown what's happening to the kids in the vault. You know, they're being kidnapped, held against their will, experimented on, and she's starting to feel some sympathy for them. But then why wasn't she feeling any sympathy in those 2 months for Omega? Was it just because she was a clone? And it's similar to what she went through? You know, it's kind of like, what difference is there between what these kids are going through and what Omega was going through? Because she was being held against her will quite clearly. You knew that better than anyone, and you had daily contact. You saw her getting punished for trying to escape. You know, so why now the change of heart? Why now the sudden surge of sympathy? You'd think that Omega would give you the most relatable amount of sympathy. So, you know, that aspect of it is a little confusing to me, but it's not a huge thing. You know, it's just more like, okay, I see how they're structuring it. You know, they've got to give them something to do whilst the story is focused away from... you know, the group itself. And I can see why this is probably a double episode, because, you know, we got nothing of the Bad Batch here. It was purely just Tantis, Emery, the vaults, which, again, I still believe there's more down in the vault that we're not being shown. There's definitely adults down there being held in stasis. And, they're giving us little inklings now as to, the CX program, the Clone Assassin program, which is clearly being noticed now because it's draining funding. It definitely, I want to go back and look at those screenshots of what, was being presented. I don't know if it was an upgrade in armor and weapons or if it was like a diagnostic screen, but it was clearly a profile of one of the assassins. And so I'd like to see if there's any inkling in those, screenshots as to who it might be. Because people are saying that it could be Tech, it could be Cody. I kind of am leaning a bit more towards Cody, but I think it's a realistic possibility either way. It could be Tech or Cody or both, maybe. But it's clear that this project is being noticed now, so it has to be a success, and that's adding to stakes. Also, did you pick up on the line in there about the clone assassin finding the Trandoshan female? We all know that's Sid. So they found Sid. Guessing she's probably not alive. If I'd be surprised if she was. But they've led the commando on to Fee, and then that's how they're going to end up on Pabu. So it's starting to come together now. So I would guess this next episode is probably going to be Pabu being attacked. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching. We're going to move straight on to the next one. So here we go.